I think like even like they had some new additions to the werewolf pack. Like there was I think their names were Seth and Leah Clearwater. Like there was the female werewolf, and I'm like, that's interesting. And even her personality, I'm like, okay, she's probably the most darkest personality I've seen in this werewolf pack, and we're talking like people like Jacob here in comparison, and yet you really didn't do anything with her. I think she probably had like less than 5 minutes of screen time, really.
Yeah, exactly. I know. There's definitely stuff lacking in that department. You know, there's just the fact that you need to create a world. You can't just randomly, briefly, insert character here, and then hope that they'll instantly become favorite characters. You know, you really need to. You have to need them. You know, you need to make them feel necessary to the movie.
Oh yeah.
And otherwise, you're just going to get, you know, a big mess, really. And I'm not saying because Twilight doesn't do it that excessively. There are movies that do it much worse.
Oh yeah.
But I do think I agree with the point you make. You know, that character. I suppose wasn't she the one when Bella arrives with the pack? She looks all angry at her.
Oh yeah. She was really ticked off.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking, where is this going? And it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like and her brother, like all they really added him into there was to have him be put in a headlock by Jacob, and you really don't see him again.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, you create those kind of like lovable little moments when she pops up at the campfire, and he's like, and you know, they kind of create a like family brotherhood kind of thing between the pack and I mean, I suppose it's nice. It makes it feel as if they know each other.
Yeah.
You don't know the youngest guy. All he says is that funny little line where he goes, and brightest or something. But if you actually know the character, you know what he's like, he's got a purpose in the movie, you'll actually think that's heartwarming. Whereas with this, it just kind of, it's meant to be heartwarming, but because you don't really know the character, you don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the campfire scene, because this is something I remembered off the top of my head. I wish I put it in my notes. The scene where, like, basically, in this scene, it's where Jacob has brought Bella over. She's the first one to hear the history of the Native American tribe that he belongs to, about their secrets of the history of the werewolves and the vampires, where it all began. But at the same time, you really got to think when you're watching this, like, think about what Jacob's doing here. He is bringing Bella over to hear something which is pretty much like an anti-vampire speech. That's it. Like, could you be more of a tool? Like, why would you do that if you want this chick to like you? You don't just slam her boyfriend or have your friggin' parents do that. Oh, yeah, you're making me hate the guy that I love. That's going to make me want to have sex with you or something like that.
Exactly. That's a very good point you make, because I felt Jacob did a lot of that kind of like, you know, and they only really addressed it at one point in the movie. That's when Bella goes, I was about to say Christopher. That's when Bella goes, wipe that smirk off your face, Jacob. We're just going for a ride.
Yeah.
You know, he's constantly kind of acting that way, like, you know, stuff like the line we pointed out, you know, I'm hotter than you. He's constantly like going like, ooh, aren't I a good one and he's a douche.
Yeah, he's really full of himself in this movie.
Exactly, I know, and, you know, on that point, exactly, he's just kind of, all he's doing is, you know, I'm certain I'm going to make her fall for me eventually.
Yeah.
And on the topic you said that, you know, he wants her to have sex with her. On that point, this movie was pretty sex-heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the first one. I mean, I've always agreed, and I've always seen that point. The underlying message in Twilight is, I suppose, don't have sex too quickly. You know, don't have it until you're married or something like that. There's an abstinence kind of thing. It was there in the first one. It's there in the third one. You know, the fact that you got to be careful who you have sex with. I think it's not that hard to
interpret,
decipher that message from it. And in this one, I felt it was quite strong.
Mm-hmm.
Very present. You know, all the
yeah.
You know, the conversation with her dad, and then and then Edward not wanting to in that whole scene where they started sitting up, and you know, it was kind of it was kind of, you know, it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. It was just, you know,
it's very evident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I am of the Christian belief, so I believe in abstinence before marriage and stuff like that. But I understand people are going to do it because it's human nature, and we're hormonal beings, so we're going to be doing that. But at the same time, I think that it's so you're not really playing it down. It's not subtle at all in their message. You might as well have the friggin' Jonas Brothers outside the theater handing out purity rings for crying out loud.
I know, exactly. I think, I've never liked it when movies over-push.
Oh, yeah.
Message. Because, have you seen the trailer for The Adjustment Bureau?
Yeah, that's the one with, the Fate, and Matt Damon's in it, right?
Exactly, and you can already tell from the trailer and the trailer that the whole movie is going to be very heavy on its topic. It's really going to try and push that message of does fate exist or not? And I always dislike it when movies do that, and the same goes for Twilight, because they're really pushing it too much.
Yeah,
and
it's almost propaganda.
Exactly, I agree, the propaganda aspect, because I think people need to interpret it through your movie.
Yeah.
For Inception, definitely, you can interpret that in all kinds of ways and have all kinds of messages, but the movie's just telling the story and leaving the interpretation up to you.
Yeah.
Which is the best way to go in any movie. All of Chris Nolan's films in that respect, because, you can definitely find all kinds of symbols and messages in The Dark Knight. It's always there, yet it's not in your face.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely right there. And yeah, there's so much here that they really are just beating you over the head with. You go to see a movie, and if it's got this moral message to it, you want to be able to take that and apply it to your own kind of, morals or belief system. You don't want to have the movie just say, sex is bad before marriage. Okay, well, I don't agree with that. Sex is bad before marriage, believe it!
Exactly, he's just before the movie, David Slade, the director, isn't that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
He just pops up in front of the theater and goes, now remember.
It's like a PSA. Yeah. Yeah, I think they really need to tone down the message, but I guess because it's a progression that something like that was bound to happen. But one thing that going back to the sake of introducing some of these new characters, let's talk about the Volturi for a minute. I guess specifically Dakota Fanning as Jane. When you saw New Moon, what did you kind of think of Dakota Fanning in the Jane character?
Well, again, I don't know 100% what she's supposed to be, and I also know that a lot of people aren't as pro-Dakota Fanning as I am. I'm actually quite a big fan of her.
Okay.
I think she's quite good as a young actress, but I especially liked her in stuff like War of the World. When she did her first performances, I suppose she's now come to a stage where she's already in the business, so she's bound to go downhill a little bit now.
Yeah.
But I don't specifically like her character or the Volturi in general, but I do think there is something creepy about her.
Oh yeah.
That she gives an edge to her character. But thinking back to New Moon, yeah, I don't know. I know they're necessary, but I never liked the way they were introduced, and as a result of that, I don't really care for them in this movie either.
Yeah. I think, what you said before, they really are pointless here. And even if they are pointless, you want to have, a reason for having to watch them. And really, I got none of that here. When I saw, Dakota Fanning as Jane, and I said this in my trailer review for Eclipse, I felt like she was at least freaky, and she was, a very kind of sinister attitude. But here, oh my goodness, no personality whatsoever. She really did look like she was reading her lines out of frame and just, there's nothing, no character, no emotion. What the frig is going on with that?
No, I've got to agree with you there. All the Volturi, and also, they kind of create something the different characters within the Volturi.
Right.
She's kind of the alpha one. She's the leader. And that one guy, the one who has to kill the girl or whatever at the end, and the one who disagrees with her in the beginning. They're trying to create that effect a little bit, you know, that you used to get with some of those old other movies.
Yeah.
But I just don't like them, you know. I think indeed they're doing it also dull, you know.
Oh yeah.